Gorgeous? No. Borges.
Borges, I'm kidding.
It used to be Borges, and then right around when I was 20, I studied and discovered what the origin of the name was, and then to, honor my father and his family and my ancestors before me, I decided to pronounce it the correct way.
Borges.
Borges.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Borges.
Yeah.
Borges.
Mm-hmm.
Desmin Borges.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Season 3, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, for a show to continue on, get past the pilot, go on to season 1, season 2, season 3 is great. And your character, Greg, correct?
Edgar.
Edgar, excuse me. Edgar. Greg.
It's early. It's early.
It is early. I've been up since 5. So
we better have some Huberts.
Yeah, you want to intro that?
I already did.
On Facebook. You didn't do it on the...
I swear to God I did it. No?
On Facebook.
I'll do it again, because I love Huberts.
We didn't do it for the show.
Oh, for the actual
Yeah.
podcast show. Oh, gotcha.
Why we are here.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like one of the best, if not the best, tasting lemonade, try Hubert's Lemonade. No, seriously, they are our lemonade sponsor, and I actually really like them. It's all naturally flavored. Nothing artificial in here. All love.
It's got plenty of pulp.
This one's great.
And it's got pulp. It makes me think like, your grandma or your grandpa made it for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
I don't think anyone ever made lemonade for me.
No?
Not real lemonade.
Did you you didn't go to a lemonade stand down the street? There was one of your friends were like, oh, 10 cents.
My mom was always she'd go up and we'd buy lemonade from a lemonade stand, and she'd drive down the street and she'd be like, just dump it out. You don't know what kids do to it. I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, you grew up in the 80s though, right? Yeah. We didn't. That's when they were putting razor blades and shit in our candy for Halloween.
I just want to see a cup of lemonade with razor blades in it.
Yeah.
That's such a weird thing to, find pleasure in, giving kids razor blades.
I would say that is the function of a not fully formed brain.
There you go.
I mean, I get it, but...
Exactly. No, I'm kidding. I just came back from Chicago, and you are from Chicago.
Chi-town.
Chi-town. What a lovely city.
Thank you.
We were just talking about this earlier.
I take ownership for it.
Good. You should.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff shooting there right now.
There is.
And it's wonderful. I know we were speaking about it earlier, but there is the Dick Wolf Empire going on there, which is wonderful.
And the other empire.
Yes.
The Fox's empire.
Fox's empire as
that's
well.
there too?
Empire Do.
It's wonderful because it's not only creating jobs for Chicago actors, but just jobs in general. But I did read an article this morning that because of the influx of material, in terms of TV shows on Amazon and all these other series, all the web series stuff, streaming services, that viewership for a lot of the network shows and the cable shows has gone down a little bit. So the price, for advertisers they can charge is going down. So a lot of guest star roles are just getting scale rate or day player rate. So it's harder for actors to make a living off acting.
Yeah, I think one of the greatest things about what John Landgraf quoted as peak TV, right? A summer and a half ago, is that we have more opportunity for a wider range of stories to be told than we've ever had via multiple sort of platforms. It's giving amazing opportunity to writers and actors of color and women in general. We see the numbers aren't where they should be, but they are steadily progressing in the right direction,
Right.
But at the same time, when you have that many pools and pots of boiling all around, basically it's well, we're going to produce this show for this amount of money, and we used to give X dollars to people, but we can only give Y dollars now, and it's either going to be you or it's going to be someone else who's going to do it.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, if you're on, if you're getting onto one of these Amazon or this Netflix, or even on the cable shows where the stories are really starting to become super saturated, niche filled, and fully fleshed out, you're going to be taking a pay cut from what you would on cable, but you're getting to tell better stories. So there's a definite trade-off. And as an artist, as long as I have enough to feed myself, my family, and put a roof over my head, I'd rather be telling the better story.
Right, and I think that's it's getting harder to do that though. You know what I mean? Even like just making enough money to get the SAG health insurance is like extremely difficult. They are merging the
They are
soon,
January 17th or something like that. So
Yeah.
I mean that'll help.
I just switched because sometimes I'll like work a bunch of after shows. Thank God I'm working, which I'm very appreciative of. But it's really funny how like I'll switch 6 months after, and then I'll book like a SAG show and be like, no, I want that SAG one because it's just a little bit cheaper and it's about the same in terms of if something happened to me. So I'm like,
Right.
I'll just take the cheaper thing. But it's good that they're merging them finally, because it is kind of confusing how we're one union. Yeah.
Well, I've been so confused ever since the merger happened. Like all of a sudden, like you're both taking dues from me, but I'm not getting the reciprocal effect when it comes to
Right.
my insurance weeks. You know, like I don't know why it's taken so long. I'm sure there's a lot of red tape, but I feel like we were being penalized for working after jobs instead of SAG jobs, even though both of them were still taking our money plentifully.
It's very interesting.
throughout the year.
There's a lot of questions that I have, and actually I've talked to Jordan about this before. I'd like to get the SAG president in here, or and just kind of talk about like
Gabrielle?
Yes, and talk about like just all the questions that I have for and the people have, like why does it take so long to like for this process to happen? Why didn't it all happen at once? And because I think that's important to know, especially when you work in a field like this. Oh my gosh, I just blanked out.
It's like Pulp, ladies and gentlemen.
It's
Brought to you
Pulp.
by
Radio
Hubert's
we are
Online.
on.
No, seriously, it's been really weird. Have you ever you travel for work? I'm assuming, right?
I do. I'm actually hopping on a flight later this afternoon to go back home, to go back east.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, congrats.
Thank you.
For a project, I'm assuming, or
No,
just-
we wrapped season 3 Friday night.
Oh wow, okay. So you're going back to catch up with family time and
Going back home, yeah,
That's
to my wife and my little boy.
Oh, that's great. Man.
Yeah.
That must be tough then, like being away, especially if you have a wife and a child.
Yeah, it was incredibly tough this year, especially because he was just born in July, so
Oh.
it's been a lot of back and forth. Like if I have 3 days or 4 days off in between shooting,
Right.
I'm on a flight last minute back to New York and then coming back to shoot. So it's been, I mean, artistically this season was amazingly fulfilling. And I'm super excited about that. And personally, like the best things for me and for my life have happened in the past year, with me getting married and my wife and I buying a house, and now we have a little boy. I mean, it's like a colliding of the two of the greatest things that could be happening with me.
Yeah.
In and out of the business at the same time. And I have found it's there are way more balls being thrown up in the air than I imagined it would be 6
Yeah.
months ago before he was born. And it's probably the hardest goodbye I've had to do 3 times now, 3 or 4 times or whatever it is.
Ugh.
It's just, I mean, you first get there and they're so small and they're so helpless. And my wife's absolutely amazing, and she's I mean, I can't even say enough about just how amazing of a mother and a wife she is. And it's like I go back and he's changed a little bit and she's been there with him changing, and it just like kills me. But luckily we got the FaceTime,
Yes.
so we've been utilizing that quite enough. But it's time to get back home. I just want to be there and hang out with him all day. And
Is that motivation for you whenever you're on set to do like just killer work? Like
yeah,
your
yeah.
family?
Two takes and I'm out. No, no. I mean, like the thing is, I love telling stories and I love telling good stories, and I'm very, very, very privileged to be able to be telling a story where I'm giving voice to the voiceless on You're the Worst, because basically we're telling a completely different vet story than has ever been told on TV through the eyes of Stephen Falk, through the dark comedic lens that is You're the Worst, and that is Edgar. And I feel like we're finally giving a lot of people opportunity to see themselves in a way that they haven't seen themselves portrayed on television before. So that's very, very important to me as an artist. And at the same time, I feel like I'm making my family proud by taking that step forward and engaging in those interactions and conversations that come
Right.
from that, but at the same time, there's just a big part of me that just wants to hang
it's-
out and cuddle that little guy.
There's something that you just said, the telling stories aspect. So a few months back, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, like what is the purpose of me being an actor? Let's just get back to the basics. And I'm telling stories so people can get entertained by it or learn something from it and create a positive thing from that bit of wisdom or whatever lesson. And I was praying, and it doesn't matter what your religious beliefs is, but for me, I was praying to God, and I was saying, okay, I really hope that with this career path I've chosen, with this craft, I'm able to book characters that I can really closely connect with and be able to tell a story that that creates some type of discussion, like, or shows like you're saying with your character, a different side to it. And I think it's such an amazing experience when you do book that next project, and it is like that. Man, I just really thankful because I just came back from Chicago, and this role that I was playing, it was like that, and I was like, oh, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted, and this is why I'm bringing it up. That layering process with the writing, I got to read the whole script, and I was like, oh man, this is totally different from my self-tape.
Right.
So it was a really interesting way I had to layer this human being, and I got to really focus on it. For your character, he's suffering from PTSD. And why is this story different from the other stories that have been told about
well, for the most part, there have been interesting depictions of it. What's his name on Enlisted a couple of years ago? That was a really interesting depiction. And then on the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, I think that they just this past year, she's kind of suffering from it, which is very interesting because it was a completely different take on it as well. But I think overall throughout the years we've seen, there people who are suffering from mental health issues aren't just looking to burst out and beat the shit out of somebody in Best Buy like at any given moment. They're real normal people. They go to the movies, they go to the mall, they mow their lawn, they go get their cars fixed. Like the thing that's hardest for them that I think our society fails to consciously accept and help is that we're dealing with people who have a very strong understanding of what they were like before they were ever diagnosed with PTSD and before they were ever starting to take treatments, and they're constantly battling with that person inside of them where with who they are and what they are now. All they want to be is what they were before this happened.
Right.
And statistically speaking, we have not found a way for within the treatment for that to actually happen. So they have to settle for what's the next best thing in front of them, and not all the time do they get the thing that corresponds the best with them. The VA, while it's an amazing organization, is desperately underfunded.
Which is astounding to me,
it's
with the amount of money we put into war itself.
Yeah, and like the thing is like it's funny because I think we comment about it a lot on the show, but I had a line this season about how civvies feel super uncomfortable with vets, so they pretend like we don't exist, and it's painfully true. We send these young men and women over to fight to protect our country, to do things that I don't think I would ever have the guts or the courage to be able to do. And then they come back and we give them a one-size-fits-all cocktail of shut up pills and tell them to go fucking hang out in a corner or go to San Diego or go to Minnesota or wherever wherever their placement of them wanting to be, and then just kind of ask them not to be involved in society anymore. And like we should be taking better care of them and giving them every opportunity because of what they've missed out on, the life that they've missed out on, the family that they've missed out on while they were over there protecting us and giving us the ability to have the freedom to do cool shit like go to Chicago and shoot a show, And it's just so. I think that answers.
We're just talking. I'm sorry.
I went off button.
I'll be honest with you guys. I'm a little we're talking about everything here, and
Yeah.
I'm still not. The whole reason I'm coming back from traveling, which is only a 2-hour time difference, but I'm still trying to like settle in, and my brain is feeling like everywhere at once right now. And I apologize to our listeners if you feel like the conversation is going everywhere, but I think it's good. I'm enjoying your company, so that's all that counts.
Well, I think it's a really interesting depiction too, because you don't like. I'm a huge fan of the show. It's really interesting when you watch something like that and you think about like when you like throw pills out and stuff like that. You kind of just feel like, oh, when he's gonna go to that tipping point, like because of all of the ways that it's been shown in other projects in the past. You expect this like ridiculous outbursts or like something violent to happen, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about the show is that you guys take something and just flip it on its head, like even with like Gretchen's depression and like I think those two storylines are like the most interesting to me because you want to see what these people are going through and amidst something that is so comedically not a bad word, but like awful, some like the way that they treat each other is like hilariously awful, and I love that part of the show. But the way that those stories develop and the way that your character is trying to do his very, very best with like his relationship while he is trying to cope with that, and no one seems to understand it. It's just it hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like I was telling you earlier, it's like a macabre, dark humor to it.
Yeah.
And there's just it's funny at face value, but then you get into watching it and you're like, oh wow, these people are really.
It's the genius twisted mind of Stephen Falk. You know, I mean, he really has an amazing way of seeing the world and how people interact with each other and themselves in the world. And you know, I think with the sort of generational issues we're dealing with now, how I think the gaps are growing really wide, and there's just I think everyone has ADHD now. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you know what I'm saying. I think it's just instilled in everybody. I'm sure you can still be treated for it, and some people would call it a disorder, but I just kind of think that's how it goes now. Like none of our children don't know how to have multiple things, surfaces, tablets, things going on at the same time. And if you do just give them one thing, they're completely bored by it.
Do you think the diagnosis creates a stigma in that person's mind? For instance, like a veteran, like if they go to they're experiencing extreme levels of anxiety or stress, or they get freaked out or whatever it is, or emotional up and downs, and when they go see a doctor and the doctor's like, yeah, you have PTSD, or however they say it, do you think that like all of a sudden there's this like veil that enshrouds that person mentally, and they're like, oh shit, how am I going to get out of this? There's no like boom easy cure for this, obviously.
No, well, I think you start seeing the things that you just thought were real life, and then obviously start questioning, like, is this me, or is this just of the part of my brain that isn't functioning as well as it used to? And then, oh shit, I just spent 2 hours thinking about why my brain wasn't functioning. What the hell just happened in front of me? I just basically walked through life for 2 hours not being present, not kind of being in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, like I had my physical this past year, and they put like the things on me to like check all my whatever, and you're like laying down, and the machine whatever wasn't reading my heart. It said that I didn't have a heartbeat. And I knew that wasn't true because I was alive and I was speaking and I was breathing, but I had to come back next week, and the whole time I was like, fuck, what the fuck's up with my heart? Like I work out a lot. I eat really healthy, like I'm in my early 30s. Like there should be nothing wrong with my heart. And just so for someone to even try to imagine what it must be like to be like, hey, you have post-traumatic stress disorder, we're going to give you these pills, and we might be able to get you into like kind of a virtual reality thing. We can't make any promises, but just take these pills, see if they help you out. If your dick stops working, that's okay, don't worry about it. You don't need your dick anyway, but you'll at least be able to think straight throughout the day. Like, how the hell would you move on? I mean, yeah, I think it takes a lot, and I think we deserve to give them more. And it just hopefully this show will continue to bring up issues and conversations, especially since we are very issue and conversationally driven society at this point,
Hopefully.
especially around like this election and everything, what's happening in the NFL with Colin Kaepernick and Brandon Marshall, and now the U.S. Olympic team just made a statement saying that if you play for the Olympic team, you have to stand for the national anthem, which I think is interesting, because if it's for like your club, like if you play for the Oklahoma City Kickballers or whatever, I'm sorry, I don't know what the name is. If
No,
they
that's
even
it.
have
It's
a
the
soccer
Oklahoma
team.
City Kickballers. Yeah, that's
you know,
that's it.
like you can take a knee, like, but if you're representing the United States on like a national level, you should be representing them to the fullest, right? But at the same time, like, isn't that when you have the most eyes on you to make a conscious decision to try to ignite change?
Yeah, you know, there's so many different there's so many different types of discussions going on, especially with what you're talking about, this situation. And sometimes I see somebody's point, somebody's perspective, and then I always feel, though, the majority of the conversations go nowhere. There's no common ground meant. It always debases to name calling and racial slurs for whatever reason. You know, people's hate and emotions get the best of them, or their preconceived notions on whatever it is. I just wish there was some tangible good things that would more good things that would come about it, because I feel like, for instance, the name escapes me because I'm in my head is a flubberguster. I just made that up. A flubberguster.
It's a new word.
Flabbergasted?
Yeah,
Flabbergasted.
Flabberguster. We'll put that on Urban Dictionary.
With some of the police case where a gentleman was choked out, African American gentleman was choked out, and he died. He was saying he couldn't breathe. His family got the.
Oh, right.
And then another person who died in police custody, an African American woman, her family got something like a lot of money. And then I feel like, okay, then what's the change? You know, okay, they got money, but
I mean,
what's
thanks
the
for the
thing?
money, but I would rather have my family member back.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Not
right.
only yes, absolutely. But my thing is, what are the laws changing after that? Why aren't we? You know, what's changing after that? I just feel like we go in these fucking phases on CNN and the news, where they push for 3 months or 2 months, this big social thing that's going on or something around the world, and they shove it in your face and they sensationalize it, and then boom, they move on to the next thing. And then boom, they move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Ratings.
And they keep you here. Then you go here. Then you go here. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Well, what the fuck really are we doing to change things?
I mean, we live in a world of 140 characters, right? Like, that's basically how everyone gets their news and their updates now. So, like, as soon as those 140 characters out and the new 140 characters are in, they move. But it's our own fault. It's the democracy that is so great that which we set up that has these flaws, and we're not really willing to examine and change these flaws for the betterment of us as a society, because green still wins, right? You know, I mean, let's they just put the
Sorry,
thing,
green still wins?
Green
money,
money,
sorry.
not marijuana. Although marijuana gets to win too.
I thought you meant
It
Green
wins
Party
too.
for a second.
No,
I'm like,
no.
I don't think they've ever won.
No, they've definitely never won. No, I'm just saying money wins out. Like, you know, and it's funny. Well, like, what was it just in? I think it was the Huffington Post. The FDA, which is probably the most corrupt organization we have, right? Because they allow people within the food industry and the service industry to meet lackluster requirements and still serve food to us at that level. They just discovered this thing where most of the restaurants that you're going to eat sushi at, you're not actually eating the fish that you think that you're eating. Specifically within the New York area. Like, there was this thing done on the New York area, and there's all these restaurants that say, oh, you got Kobe beef. There's only 2 restaurants in New York that get shipped in Kobe beef. It might be a variation on Wagyu beef. I mean, I'm very big into food. Wagyu beef is delicious, but don't sell me Kobe if it's Wagyu, just to elevate, you know. So, and that's just a very small scale of what's happening everywhere. And if we're doing it, you know, within the food, within the sustainable source that continues to keep us, you know, living, you know, other than oxygen and water, like what other corners are we cutting throughout the rest of?
And medications too. It's like, you know, it's bad enough with food, but like medications are just made with whatever, and you never know what the side effects are until 20 years later.
And how do you know that, like, whatever pill you're getting is 100% that pill that you're getting, right? I mean, you know, I mean, it's different. if you're like, oh man, hey, oh, my buddy's gonna get us some Molly, then you don't know what the fuck's coming in that Molly, right? But when you go to CVS and you get a prescription from the doctor, you expect that shit to be whatever was prescribed, 100% of whatever was prescribed, and you never really know if that's the case.
Again,
Oh, good Lord.
I think I should be emperor.
You should, well, if you were, I would encourage you, rather than violently acting upon these people, putting them in a place where they could, kind of like a Clockwork Orange scenario. I mean, you don't like strap them down and brainwash them, but put them in a place where
Wait, I like that better.
Yeah.
Brainwashing facilities going up everywhere.
Well, brainwashing could do some wonders. I mean, magic's great.
I think it's about actually taking action. Like, as a society, we generally always like, well, I'm against this and I don't like that. But it's like, unless you actually contribute, like, how many people are always like, write a letter to your senator. It's like, who does that? Like, nobody actually does that. Like, I can't imagine. But like, it's just like, if we actually,
grandmothers do.
Yeah, exactly. They have the time. But like, if you actually give a shit about something and you really want to make a change about it, like, do something more than just talk about it. Or unless you have a platform
that's
to be able to talk about it and
Right.
use that to have people do stuff about it too. It's
Right.
like an opportunity, especially people with such big social media outlets and stuff like that. Like, use it. We had, what was that show? Oh my God. It was like a few episodes ago. We were talking about social media. I think it was J.R. Bourne he was on, and we were talking about the ability to have such amazing like fans is an opportunity for you to use that to ask people, to care about something and to do something about it and to donate or to do, or to write a letter or something like that. And I think that's an outstanding use of like something within our industry that you can do to kind of give back to the community and create change.
Sure.
Yeah. On the subject, going back just a little bit, on PTSD and anxiety. I know as actors, like, I'm not comparing the two because those are two completely different, and I'm not saying one is more or whatever that is, but we go through a lot of anxiety as actors, and I know a lot of our listeners have anxiety of trying to make a living just in general, and they want to pursue what they want to, their passion. I'm sure you face anxiety as an actor and now as a parent and as a husband and being away from your family. And we've had other actors who are, have families. How do you deal with that anxiety, and if it's gotten to a level where it's been really extreme for you?
Well, I think I think ultimately I've been fairly lucky upon my path. My family we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so money was always such a huge issue. And I always used to say to myself when I was younger, when I get older and I have my own house, money is not going to be an issue. Not that I'm going to have a lot of it, but I'm just not going to make it the thing that makes or breaks what I like about life, or what I'm able to like actually accomplish in life, so yes, there are, especially early on when you're really trying to make it. Like, I got out of school, I was fortunate enough to be offered a 1-year acting gig at the Children's Theater Company in Minneapolis, where I was an ensemble member for a year right after I graduated. I went there, I did 6 plays. I was a part of that ridiculously amazing culture and tradition-laced community. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. If you've never been to Minneapolis, I would go. And if you have kids, go check out a show at the Children's Theater Company.
Jungle Theater, have you been there?
The Jungle, yeah.
I've seen a show there. I've been there before.
No, the Jungle's great. They've got the big dark blue castle that is the Guthrie now, and Mixed Blood Theater. I mean, there's just so many great opportunities there. So, I luckily right out of school had that job, and so my confidence was kicked into a higher sort of a gear. And then I came back to Chicago and I started working with Teatro Vista, which I then became an ensemble member of, Victory Gardens, Goodman, Steppenwolf, Looking Glass, Chicago Shakes, in whatever sort of capacity that I could.
Right.
And I was constantly moving, constantly shaking, doing commercials when I could. And there was no television at the time in Chicago that was coming through. And they weren't really casting a lot of roles widening the pool out of New York and LA to Chicago, Minneapolis, Boston, other places like that. So those opportunities were limited, but I was acting in a lot of very, 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 very low budget independent films, which, tends to be a hugely collaborative process on that part, because there's, not a lot of hoopla or money to be made off of it. It's about people wanting to tell good stories. And so I was very lucky to be surrounded in that atmosphere while I was like cultivating, my ideas of how to attempt, the craft and how to execute on the craft. And it was a very sort of loving sort of experience. And then in 2009, I did this play at Victory Gardens, The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Deity, which was this hip-hop satire about an underdog Puerto Rican wrestler from the Bronx wanting to tell one perfect fucking story, but having to deal with racism, capitalism, and stereotyping through the world of WWE-style professional wrestling. And that blew up, and we went to New York, and it became...
That's an amazing, layered character right there.
Oh, my God. It's so there's five characters in the play. There's Macedonio Guerra, a.k.a. The Mace, the Puerto Rican underdog wrestler. There's Chad Deity, the titular character, who is basically The Rock and Hulk Hogan mixed in one, but he is a black figure that is beloved by all. Then we have an unremarkable, unmistakable, fast-talking Indian kid from Brooklyn who could get any honey's number and is bad on the basketball court. Then there's a white wrestler who's the jabroni who puts on masks and just gets his ass beat by Chad Deity all the time. And then there's the white boss like Vince McMahon who runs everything and tells you, do your fucking job, get behind the mask, and go get beat in record time. So while you're grateful to have this opportunity to be doing this thing that you love, there's always someone there who's telling you, no, you don't belong here. You belong in this box, and this is how we're going to sell you, and this is the thing. So it was a very amazing parallel to what happens within the acting world on a similar sort of level. Right. So I was lucky enough to get involved in that, and then we went to New York, and then it kind of became a hit there, and I moved with New York, and I stayed from there, and then I booked my first movie, Mr. Popper's Penguins, across Jim Carrey, and then before I knew it, like a year and a half later, I booked my first series regular on Stephen Falk's other show on NBC that didn't make it to the air, starring Dane Cook and Jeffrey Tambor and Colette Wolfe, who plays Dorothy on the show, and Joy Osmansky and myself. And then, so I've had a very... a very lovely and communal sort of effort all throughout my path. So the level of I'm very, very lucky, and it's not your average actor sort of story. Not that I didn't bust doors down and was hitting the pavement while I was in Chicago, or even that I still do that in New York or LA now, but I was just very lucky that the entire time while I've been doing that, I've just had great, strong people around me who want to tell good stories, and when that's everyone's focus, no matter if you're getting paid or you're not getting paid, good shit happens to people who are involved in that sort of world, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think a keystone to that, I mean, you just said it, and you only glazed over it just now, but it's a main focus, which I always try to push on other actors, the work. But you're still busting your ass. Mm-hmm. You're not going to believe me, and I literally I couldn't believe myself, like I was in that situation. I'm sitting in Chicago on set, and one of the stand-ins comes up to me, and he's a very nice guy. I'm gonna say this right off the bat. You're a very nice guy if you're watching this right now. Super nice guy. I respect your story, your struggle.
But
awesome. He came up to me and he's like, "Hey, like I want, I want to be an actor, and do you have any tips for me? How long have you been at?" I'm like always open to share that with other artists and actors. Why not, right?
Of course.
You have a show about it.
Wait, I do?
Oh, God.
And so he started telling me a lot of personal stuff about him, his struggle, and, he was openly sharing and, like, really personal stuff. And, I don't know if this happens to you or you, Jordan, or you, Nicole, but in the beginning when people would share, like, mad personal shit about their lives, and I don't know, like, I just met them, I'm always like, I'm going to okay, cool, I gotta go. Like, this is making me way uncomfortable.
Yeah, either that or I'm gonna charge you $2.25 an hour.
Right.
You know, like.
But then I try to have the mindset, okay, maybe this person is going through a really tough time, and they just, if they're going through such a tough time that they're sharing all this with just a random stranger, it must be really rough. So,
like, do you mean like relationships or like surgeries or like where are we going
anything,
here? Like,
anything.
What's the oddity?
You know, relationship with their mom, their stepdad, how hard it is, you know, them maybe not graduating from college, and you know, them
Just
struggling,
gets
that kind of
deeper
stuff.
and deeper.
Yeah, deeper and deeper. So I've been open to that. I've been like, you know what, just receive it, because
Right.
they're telling you for some reason,
Right.
and the universe is putting you in this situation for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Be open to it. So I asked him, I was like, okay, may I ask what your motivation is to be an actor before I give you any tips, because we've got to cover that basis first,
Right.
because that's what gets you through the hardest times in your life.
Right.
And he goes, oh, like I want to be famous.
Bye.
Straight up. And he went on like I want to be so rich. I want people to recognize me. I want to have like a bunch of cars. And I'm sitting there and I'm like,
Seriously?
I was like, I can't really, like, it was such a shock to me. And I was like, this is the first time it's encountered like this head on with me. And I was like, man, I was just really honest with him. Like, I can't help you then.
Yeah. Well.
I can help you. Because you're not gonna, most likely you're not gonna become famous from just being an actor. You're not gonna be able to make a living from an actor. The stats are just there.
Yeah.
This is a craft. You have to take it seriously. I recommend maybe reevaluating what you want to do, and if fame is really what you want, there's a YouTube series that you can start, and you can do whatever you want with that.
There are platforms now with people who have millions of views every day on whatever they decide that they're doing now on YouTube.
Right.
And I mean, I guess it depends on like what type of fame, dude, are you looking for?
Right.
Because the thing is, if that's what your goal is, if that's what your passion is, who the fuck am I to tell
Right.
you like that's not the way to go about it? But I will tell you that being like a working actor, statistically speaking, the odds are not in your favor.
Right.
Right.
And I wanted to make it clear to him, and I hope I did, and I hope it's becoming clear now that, like you said, fame, that's fine, but don't mix it in with the real craft of acting and the storytelling core that it is. You know, as a producer, a writer, a director, you know, whenever you put these things on, a true artist is not doing it for the fame and the recognition, in my opinion. It's to tell that story and give it to those people.
No.
That's the whole purpose for me, anyway. Fame and the money aspect is byproduct of that, I
So
feel.
he's
Right.
at a brainwashing facility in Chicago right now.
I mean, you know, I think and like the thing is, like for me, like it's incredibly interesting because when people first started recognizing me from You're the Worst, I'm a private guy, and when you're walking around the streets of New York, no one really gives a fuck. Like everyone's on the same level, man. You know, like I don't care if you got a stroller or you got a limp. It doesn't matter. We're all gonna get on that subway together. You just might not make it there as fast as me.
Yep.
You know, like so, like it was always kind of interesting when people would like start recognizing me because it was just kind of like, oh, what's up? You're the worst. High five, and then keep on walking by. And I didn't know if they had seen the show or they just didn't think I was a good person. You know, like, yeah, but like as like time goes on, and now we're in season 3, like more and more people have started to come up to me and us, you know, kind of all over the place. And while I don't discourage it, I appreciate people coming up and saying how much they enjoy the show, and I love meeting people who are digging the work that we're doing and the story that we're telling. You know, I mean that part of this business is engaging and continuing the conversation past what you see on screen. You know, so I feel like it's kind of my obligation. So not by any means am I like shying away from it, but a part of me just likes to kind of, you know, put on my headphones and my sunglasses and like just kind of go to Whole Foods and like, you know, just kind of get my stuff and like and you know like and like be a regular person over again. But that's a hard thing. So if you are looking for fame, like understand that there are a lot of sacrifices, and your privacy is the main one, that and your personal time that kind of gets stripped from you very quickly.
Yeah. I feel like wanting fame is not enough to be able to acquire anything. Like you can't, like, even like you were saying, like YouTube is like YouTube, like after working in YouTube, I'm like, holy shit, there's like a lot of stuff that comes, like you have to come up with a really good idea. Like you have to be very inventive to come up with something, even if it's something that's like to the general public is like, this is stupid. Like you still have to like come up with that stupid idea.
Right.
But like it's a lot of like any situation where someone's famous is like, I feel like you have to apply yourself well enough to acquire that fame.
Yeah.
Unless you're rich already, which then you can get your fame by some other means. But I don't understand Paris Hilton, but she's famous.
I've said this phrase before on the show before. Sometimes a slap in the face is better than a tap on the shoulder. So maybe this gentleman's idea of fame is, something different than what it actually is, and the only way for him to learn that lesson or that experience is to experience, like, maybe he will get famous someday, and maybe he'll be like, oh shit, I do not like this. This is not what I had. And that's the only way to learn things sometimes. I know I learn like that sometimes, where I really have to experience something before I really understand it. And as an actor, you do your research. And,
Sure.
And the best ways I've found to really understand something is to either talk to somebody who's experienced it or experience it myself. Sorry,
Sure.
I cut you off.
No, I was just saying, and like don't underestimate like how addictive that sort of lifestyle can be. Like I mean I'm like I'm on a television show that tells great stories that reaches a certain limited number of audience. Like I can still walk down the street for the most part, and like no one gives a fuck like if I'm walking down the street. But like I do know people and have been around people that have been in like these worldwide phenomenon movies, and wherever they go, like they're completely, and that is a scary thing sometimes, because you don't. I mean, I know Eminem writes about it all. I was gonna quote an Eminem line, but I don't think I remember it all the way, so then I don't want to like mess him up. But it's like it's a rough path, even though it seems like it's a glamorous one. Once you get there, like, and the thing is, like, it's worse than like any other addiction. I don't know if you guys watch BoJack Horseman.
Oh yeah.
But it's I feel like that. I feel like that's kind of like a really good depiction about what it's like to like be on top and then to fall famously to the bottom, and all you're doing is desperately trying to grab at straws to get back to the same point, and it's a scary sort of lifestyle.
It seems like it's almost an addiction that you have no control over, because it's one of those things where it's like that can come and then it can go, and then you are literally, and that's always what I thought of BoJack Horseman as like a show too. It's like this person who is so immensely surrounded by fame, and once you remove yourself from that, it becomes like even more of a battle of like, well, like that's all you struggle for at that point. And it's just like, what's the point of any of that?
And and I think for all of the people we've had on our show, I'm going to say the majority of them, they find a balance in their personal lives. So acting is not the only thing they do. They have family, they have other hobbies, they have other career choices, they have other things they do. That way, whenever like one is declining, they can kind of go back to that and rebalance themselves and get a new perspective on it. And God forbid, if acting just completely plummets, you still have this completely other life that you have and you go to, and this perspective, your entire world doesn't just crumble.
Sure. And I mean, acting is life experience, and if you're not experiencing other things in life, like I don't really see how you can plausibly continue to grow as an actor and as an artist. I mean, there's some times where the best thing for you is not working a lot, so that you can go through a dark time or a rough period or a really great period. You might like fall madly deeply in love, and like you're not really working as much, but like you're loving and you're loving and you're loving, and then before you know it, like a year and a half later, you're playing Romeo, and like you can actually use the love that you've garnered and actually tangibly use it. Although at the time, like as the actor, like you're thinking like, oh fuck, I'm a failure, I haven't worked in a year and a half, when that's not necessarily always the case.
It's fuck, man, isn't that amazing? Like you could take those memories that you've had of experiences, and as an actor, and there's something really cool in the spontaneity of a moment. Which I've been finding more and more in my work, kind of just trusting, like living in the moment and just really listening to what the person is saying, and that it just makes acting a lot easier.
It is. I try to be as present as I can in life at all times now. You know, I mean, I get stuck into it sometimes where I'm like looking at fantasy football stats or checking Twitter or something like that when I'm in a group of people. But I've really, really tried to make a conscious effort that whenever I'm around people to engage with them as much as I possibly can and not let other things sort of distract me.
Absolutely.
And I think if you're able to like live your regular life like that, that will directly apply over into your artistic life.
Yeah. Great. I'm so sorry I don't have my phone on me and I don't see a clock. Do we have the time? Just that time. Just that. I just need to know the time.
The time is 10 o'clock.
Okay, we got a little bit more time. Hamilton.
Yes.
I saw your Instagram post.
Oh no, that's from In the Heights.
Oh, In the Heights. Excuse me.
No. Because I'm old school Lynn, you know what I'm saying? Like
You're old school Lynn.
Yeah, we were doing Chad Didi in New York while In the Heights, right before he won the Tony and In the Heights. So like I was at the height of my, oh my God, you look and sound just like Lin-Manuel Miranda. So when we met, we're like, you know, I'm the evil brother and I'm the evil twin and he's the other, and he's since proven it full load.
His story is really interesting.
Oh man, he's such a remarkable human being. He really is.
I kind of want to have him on the show now.
Well,
just right after you.
Yeah. just to compare voice quality.
Yeah.
Did you see In the Heights?
I did. I got, when I was there, I wasn't living, I hadn't moved fully to New York yet. When I went out, because I knew Lynn was leaving and I was auditioning to replace him. And I hadn't seen the show yet, and I got one of those rush tickets, a $25 ticket, so I was like sitting in the front row, and it blew my fucking mind. I mean, it was so good. You know, I mean, I don't think it's relevant and historically beneficial for the theater scene like Hamilton has turned out, has become. But you know, like it definitely helped pave the way for Hamilton and everything that's gonna have the opportunity after Hamilton for sure.
Well, the director I worked with on the show called on this pilot, Chicago Justice, his name is Fred Berner, and I kept hearing him say like, I'm just watching, and if it's interesting to watch, like he kept forgetting to say cut, and so he's like, I'm just interested in what I'm watching, and that's what's really important to me whenever I'm casting. Will I sit down and watch this dude?
Right.
And I feel like that's the way with this, Lynn guy and this Lynn guy. This Lynn guy, he's interesting to watch.
This phenomenon, that's this guy. What's his name? Lynn what?
His performance is very raw, so you always feel like it's just off the top of his head.
Well, I mean, that's what he's done. I mean, he's part of this group called Freestyle Love Supreme. Which Chris Jackson is in it, because they all went to Wesleyan together. Tommy Kail, my good buddy Utkarsh Ambadukar is in it, who, funnily enough, the character of Vigneshwar Pajuar from Elaborate Entrance of Chad Didi is based on Utkarsh Ambadukar. And so, like, they just freestyle kind of about anything, you know, and like, and so like that rawness that he has when he's like, lights up on Washington Heights, up at the break of day, I wake up and I got this little punk I gotta chase away. You know, I mean, like, that's just like Lynn and them playing around from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And he like basically took it and made it into what it was today. So he like took like a modern day cipher and put it on stage basically, you know, and just said, boom, we're gonna put some, we're gonna add drama, we're gonna add a really element story, we're gonna throw some love in here, we're gonna throw some family in here, and you know what? Boom, 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 boom. I'm just gonna write it out, and like there you go. Like I've seen them just like start going like on the street, and I'm just like absolutely amazed. Like I have no idea, and like I can rap, I'm good with spoken word, but my mind does not work like that. I just do not, and it's just like so politically and culturally present, like while they're doing it. It's just like, it blows me away every time.
You ever see him on Jimmy Fallon?
Oh yeah.
When he did those 3 random words?
Oh yeah.
And I was just like,
what?
That is so good.
Yeah, and then he did it at the White House with Obama.
That'd be scary. I know I would accidentally curse or say something horrible. I'm like,
that's all right. Malia, Sasha, they've heard everything at this point.
But like rap battles, you ever watch those on YouTube?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Have you guys seen these? Like
They're-
they get intense.
Yeah.
And they talk about like really personal shit. About
I mean,
the
that's
other
where
person.
Biggie Smalls was discovered.
I did not know that.
Yeah. In a cipher in New York.
Wow.
Boom.
And a cipher.
Yeah, well, a cipher is like a circle of people that get together. You got certain people beatboxing, certain people rapping, all collectively as a group. You're homogenizing like this moment, this story, this rap that's kind of happening. You know.
I kind of want to do it now just because I know it makes me feel so uncomfortable. Like, I feel like I would just be, like, so awkward in there. I'm like, yeah. That's all I would say.
Sometimes that's all. Sometimes that's all one person needs is a yeah.
He's our yeah guy.
He's our hype man. He's like Flavor Flav's like, yo,
Yeah.
what, it's your boy.
I'm
That's
much more
Jay-Z.
mellow. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Just at the end of every
Oh
single
yeah, that's
one.
good right there. Wonderful alliteration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a poetry night then would be better for me.
Maybe.
I'll try it. I'll let you know how
Do
that
the
goes.
snaps. Yeah, let me know. Do it live on Facebook. We can all see it.
We have to do that now. Live poetry slams.
Yeah, that's another podcast. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Seriously, absolute pleasure.
Sorry to the listeners if we got too deep, but sometimes shit gets rural.
No apologies, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to throw some jokes in there for you.
No, seriously, thanks for coming. It was an absolute pleasure having you on. When does season 3 air? Sometime.
It started airing August 31st.
August 31st.
Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. on FXX. Episode 4 airs next Wednesday. Because
This airs Tuesday.
So tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Episode 4 will air, and you can get seasons 1 and 2 on Hulu, or iTunes, or FX Now, or Amazon, or whatever illegal site you download shit from and watch on your television. Not that I promote the latter, but I do think we're telling some great stories on TV, and I would
Absolutely.
like you to see it in whatever way possible.
Yeah. If you pay $3 for a cup of coffee, I think you could pay $3 for an episode.
For an episode, yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I got Nicole on it. She started watching it.
Coffee? Oh, that was
A coffee.
On your Hulu account.
Yeah, on my Hulu account. Maybe
That-
that's not.
that's
don't-
illegal.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Is it not?
I don't know. Shut up.
It's totally not. They don't know that you're not in 2 places at one time.
Right? She watches it at my house
oh,
on my
with you.
account.
Yeah.
Any
Why
la-
is this IP address?
apparently, I think that is illegal on Netflix. Like, you're not allowed to share.
Yeah,
it.
I think it can't be streaming on more than 2 devices at the same time. But Hulu lets you go up to like 8 or something. Like
Yeah.
that.
Jeez.
Yeah, but I kind of at like, all right, so I watch a lot of football. I bought this NFL Sunday ticket thing because we don't have DirecTV, and I want to be able to like I'm jumping on flights a lot, you know, like I just want to be able to like catch the game, you know, like when I'm going or listen to it or whatever.
Yeah.
And it will only allow you to stream on one platform at a time.
Oh,
Wow.
Like I've tried, this morning I opened it up on the computer and then I tried to open up on my phone and it wouldn't let me. Then I tried to open it up on my iPad and my phone and it wouldn't let me. So it was like only one device at a time. And like it, you know, television is going that way. So eventually we're going to be able to stream everything all the time anywhere that we want to.
Yeah.
Right. No, NFL is really
No, but
picky,
they're-
but you should check out Twitter. Twitter's live streaming the games now.
Thursday night games.
Oh, not Sunday night.
Thursday night games. Not the Sunday day games, not the Sunday night.
Gotcha.
But the Thursday night games they are, which is interesting because I guess Twitter's gonna start becoming a television platform now as well. I mean,
Yeah, they started doing videos.
yeah,
so it's
I
gonna
mean, might as well. I mean, I watch all of my television on my Apple TV anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you pay $15 a month for HBO, you pay a little bit here for Showtime, and then, you know, just borrow somebody's username and password for their AT&T account. You get live
Anything you
ESPN and HGTV. What else do I need in my life?
Right?
Before we go, any last piece of advice for actors or artists out there?
Yeah. Know this. You're never competing against anyone. You're competing against yourself and the preparation time that you give yourself. And as long as you do what you want to do when you're in that audition room, that writer, director, producer, casting director, whoever the hell it is, they will remember you. It may not be for this project, but it will be for another project. So when you go in there, do your thing. Don't feel like you failed. Don't feel like you've lost. You've actually really won, and later on, you'll see that to be the case.
Wonderfully said, Desmond. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for coming here again.
Hanging in there. I just flew back from Louisiana last night,
Ooh.
so it's interesting.
We're all like
We're jet setters.
Best food ever.
Ah,
Best food ever.
Louisiana.
Oh my God.
New Orleans?
Southern cooking.
Yeah.
The gumbo, the freaking beignets,
the fried
beignets.
chicken.
Oh my God, so crazy. I'm going back.
Wow.
Hands down. And the Southern hospitality. It's freaking amazing. The people, everybody's so nice down there.
The only thing I don't like, not that I don't like, I don't care for, is that you can still smoke inside every bar establishment.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm allergic to cigarette smoke, but it definitely it affects me. It affects my respiratory system in an immediate sort of way. So I just go outside with my drink and hang out on the street or whatever, which is totally cool.
I didn't do many bars. We were there for a film festival because our film was there, so
nice.
it was kind of nice to and they flew us out there. It was so much generosity, and then we went to New Orleans on the way out, and it was just oh, that place it's so historical. It's so just alive.
And the music
I can't wait to go back.
The music there's amazing.
The jazz, the Cajun, everything. I love all of it. So I can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
But I'm tired as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm
I'm literally on a 2-second delay. I apologize. I really don't know what's going on. I'm gonna take some vitamins or something when I
There
get
you
home.
go.
Yeah, you need
To get a B12 shot.
Oh yeah.
There you
I heard that now too much B vitamins now causes some problems.
Prostate cancer? No,
I
don't
hear
know.
the
I know.
FDA is permitting these.
I don't know,
vitamins.
man, anymore. I'm just trying to eat healthy. I'm trying to eat lots of vegetables, clean, organic meats.
Of course.
Just trying to be healthy.
Although now we'll see. Well, we'll find out soon in the next year and a half. All these things that we've been eating that are organic may not necessarily be organic.
Now I can't get sushi anymore. I'm going to be constantly thinking about that.
You know, this is I mean, I get, but that's
you
the
gotta
thing.
go to a real sushi place. You gotta pay the extra bucks.
Well, no, but
Why am I? I'm like, come on, you gotta pay those extra bucks, man.
you gotta quit. You gotta quit going to Yoshinawa, okay?
Oh, God.
Which I've never eaten at Yoshinawa before, but that's one step up from Panda Express or one step down. What is it? Because I know Panda Express is Chinese and Yoshinawa is Japanese, so I'm not trying to say that either one is one step above the other. I'm just talking about food quality wise.
I just cannot do Panda Express. I don't do fast food Chinese. I don't do it.
I don't do fast food except for In-N-Out Burger.
Oh my God.
And that's very rare. I mean, but I go to taco stands and stuff, but
Yeah.
those are legitimate people, not a corporation
Yeah, exactly.
selling me
Yeah.
sludge nuggets.
Yeah, I'm always nervous to go to some taco stands. Do you know any good ones around the city?
I like Cactus a lot. There's this one right next to the Virgil, this taco truck that I don't remember the name of it, but it's right there, Santa Monica and Virgil.
Good quality food?
Or Sunset and Virgil. Yeah,
Okay.
tasty stuff. But I like Cactus on Vine.
Cactus?
I call it Cactus. It's Cactus. But
I'm
Cactus!
saying cactus.
Cactus!
I'm gonna copy you.
There you go.
Thanks, Nicole. Good luck on your audition. You're gonna rock it.
Kill it.
Yeah. Thanks to our listeners.
She's like,
I know,
can you finish it so I can go to it?
Sorry.
And we're out.
Thanks to our listeners. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we've had a new episode, but I've been in Chicago. We had our 10-minute live Facebook feed with Philip Winchester. Check that out if you haven't already. It was kind of like a mini episode for you guys while I was on location. Scheduling was really hectic, and I just didn't have ample opportunity to record something. So hopefully that makes up for it.
Don't apologize for yourself. Just don't.
I'm apologizing to the listeners, and because I like them a lot, and they're the
good
thing.
stuff.
The good stuff.
They're good stuff.
Thanks to GVB Studios. Thanks to everybody. Much love, everybody, and always remember to listen, think, and then talk.